Hi Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your September 2021 Mercury Retrograde reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before I begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. How will Aquarius be affected by the September 2021 Mercury Retrograde? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels. And spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels. And spirit guides, angels. And spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides, angels and spirit guides. At the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. We have the world, which is absolutely beautiful to have at our roots. And we have the magician, as above, so below, as we think it, so it becomes. So the world opens to us, and we stand before the altar of our being and ourselves and our souls and our desires. And we claim what is rightfully ours. We claim our passion, we claim our way forward. So there is something very powerful about a claiming of becoming a walking through almost fire into a powerful place of understanding of ourselves that we didn't have before. And that's going to be really quite beautiful here, Aquarius. Also remember, as above, so below, as you think it, so it becomes. Your mind is intrinsically important during this Mercury retrograde. It's always important, but during this Mercury retrograde, more so than at a lot of other times. Then we have the Seven of Air. There is this beautiful way of looking at things and moving forward and finding which direction, you're kind of being pointed in and where the winds are taking you and why they are taking you there. Then we have the Five of Air. There's a sense of being protected and also being watched over, which is really, 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 really nice. There's a sense of there's something bigger going on here, and we're going to feel that spiritual connection, that sense of being guarded, being watched over, and that's just really soothing, and I find it as a very soothing, smoothing kind of harmonious energy coming forward. It's really pretty. Then in our emotional selves, we have the Page of Cups, water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. If we're born on the cusp with Pisces, or we have water sign energies within our natal chart, that's going to be coming through very powerfully in our hearts. And we're also going to see ourselves finding answers in places we never would have thought to look, in the places that we thought, like, oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. But there becomes this powerful beauty that moves us forward, that takes the tumult of our souls and ourselves and just calms them, steadies them, and calms and steadies us. We're looking at the future. We can see this future quite profoundly and quite beautifully. We're looking outward, and we're looking at more than just meets the eye. And there's a sense of more here, more during this Mercury retrograde, more for us than originally meets the eye in our public arena self, we have justice, which is Libra energy. If we have Libra within our natal chart, that's going to come through very powerfully in the public arena, but it's also being discerning with the energy that we let into our lives, knowing that everything isn't just black or white, white print, white page, black print, things going forward, and just that certain distinct, this is how it's always been, this is how it will always be way. It's like, no, what is right for me, and why is it right for me, and how am I expressing myself this way? How am I finding this balance within myself without having to overly explain myself or care what everybody else thinks? And then we have the nine excuse me, the Nine of Pentacles, which here it says gratitude, but there's also the sense of beauty and prosperity and abundance, like opening up the door and us being able to say, this is what I've worked for. Yes, I know there's hard work to come. I get that, but I am celebrating the work that I've already put in, the time and the effort I've spent on me, and the power and the beauty and the intensity that is who I am and what I want and what I am becoming. Now, let us look at the energy we have to be mindful of during this time. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. Now, this is the Queen of Swords. Now, we ourselves are air sign energy. Now, remember that as an air sign energy, we're all about talking. We're all about thinking. So Mercury retrograde affects us a little bit more intensely than it does others. Not as intensely as, let's say, it will a Gemini who is ruled by Mercury, but it comes in as a powerful hitter during this time. It's almost like the gloves are off. The Mercury retrograde is going to be like, see what you need to see, look at things. And that's what we're getting ahead of myself here, getting too excited. That's what retrograde make us do. They make us see the things that we would rather sweep under the rug, or the dirt in the corners that we're like, oh, I'll get there later, type of things. It's like, no, let it be cleansed now. Let it be released now. And so when it comes to the energy that we have to be mindful of, we have to be mindful of ourselves getting too much in our own heads, overthinking, overanalyzing things, looking at all sides and not being satisfied with what we see, or pushing ourselves harder and harder and harder. So this Mercury retrograde becomes a very stressful, very overwhelming time for us. We're also going to find ourselves really attracted to people who push, who can go right for our weak spots and just hammer that right into our hearts, and who go for the jugular. We're going to think, oh, well, they're just telling me the truth. They're telling me what I need to hear. They're being open. They're being honest with me. If they weren't so comfortable with me, they wouldn't speak so freely. No, some people are just jerks and they will speak that freely to everyone. So just be mindful of that with the Queen of Swords, and that we can be that same way. We can have that same intensity. Now, with the chakra energy, angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides, angels. So we have two. We have the chakra, we have the sacral chakra, and we have the throat chakra. Now the sacral chakra is complex, and it's one of my favorite because it is so complex. The sacral chakra is all about our sensual, sexual energy and our creativity. It's also where all the negativity from this life and past lives are held. So when we have creativity coming forward, it's kind of like we're looking at all that past hurt, all that past trauma that we hold at this chakra, and we're saying, oh, I see you. Like, I see you for the lie and the hurt and the corruption that you are. That's like what the Five of Air makes us see. The Five of Swords always makes us see a trauma, a drama from our past that's coming forward into our present. Here, though, we just feel beautifully protected. It's like, oh, I see this. And I see that I'm not ruled by this. It's almost like I'm stepping out of the shadow because it doesn't suit me anymore. It doesn't fit me. I get to move towards something beautiful. I get to create my own path forward. I get to create something beautiful within myself, something powerful, around me, guiding me. And it leads us to the third chakra of truth. And it says here, speak the truth. Now, yes, people cannot like us for speaking the truth as we see it. Now, it isn't being malicious about things and say, well, this is the truth as I see it, and that's just what I'm going to say. It's like, no, this is what I need to be a steady, happy human being within my life. It's like justice. When we talk about justice, this card always confused me when I was first doing the tarot, or even a while into it, because it was like, okay, what does that mean? Like, what does justice mean? Because justice can be the letter of the law, yes, but is that justice for everybody? Like, is that what we go around with this little rule book in our heads? And it's not. So when we are talking about truth, we're talking about what is just, what is powerful, what is appropriate for us. And the sense of the balancing the scales, the sense of the balancing our energy, balancing what we desire, where we want to be, how we want to move forward, who we are, and the power of our own voice. Because during a Mercury retrograde and as an air sign energy, our voice can seem to be all jumbled. We can tend to say, well, this is what I'm going to do, and then think, oh no, but this is what I should do, and oh no, but this is what I should do. And it's like, no, this is the power, and this is the beauty, and this is the essence of me. I need to speak true things during this time. Why? Because I'm embracing my magic. And when we speak of magic, it doesn't have to be the conjuring sort, unless that's what you believe, then absolutely it is. But what we're talking about with magic is we're talking about that ability to stand with confidence within ourselves and say, I'm worth it. To say, I'm powerful, to look at the future and not be so terribly overwhelmed that we think, you know what, I'm just going to close the door and look at this another day. This Mercury retrograde is unlike any other. It's the most positive Mercury retrograde, but because of all the complexities that Mercury brings, it might not always seem like the most positive thing. Mercury retrograde affects technology. It brings breakdowns in technology and also within ourselves. It enhances nervousness. It enhances anxiety. It brings travel delays or just aggravation around travel. We can always seem to be running late, or we can always be on time, and yet what we're going to is always running late. It just brings us the sense of frustration, or we can't get everybody out of the house at the proper time in order to get to where we need to be. We tend to lose things. We tend to lose things, and it's like I misplaced something and I don't know how I've misplaced it. Today, the remote control went missing, and it's creeping up on Mercury retrograde. And I just thought, I spent so much time looking for that remote control. This is how Mercury retrograde is going to go. And yes, it's going to be silly things like that, but they're going to add to little frustrations if we don't keep ourselves in a higher energy vibration and say, I'm not letting this pull me down. I'm not letting this be aggravating or overwhelming or irritating to me. Make sure that we get a lot of sleep during Mercury retrograde, because if we can get a good amount of sleep, that really does help with our energy vibration and our mood and our powerful selves. Now, Mercury retrograde usually happens 3 to 4 times a year. This year, luckily, it only happens 3, and this is our last Mercury retrograde, though we do end on quite an intense one. They last for about 24 days, give or take. We are going to find ourselves dwelling on things. We can find ourselves becoming a little bit obsessive, there we go, during Mercury retrograde. And we can also find ourselves really dwelling on the past, really thinking about the past. And maybe not even in that nostalgic, things were better when type of way, but in that sense of, that person who kind of screwed over us or really hurt us in the past. We have the memory of them coming forward, and they're just coming to the forefront of our minds, and they can lower our energy vibration, because Mercury retrograde makes us look at things mentally, physically, in the world, in our way of interacting with people that we usually would ignore. So that's going to be really important. And I can see it happening here, Aquarius, with thoughts coming up. And it's like, well, why did that person get to ruin my life? And why did that person get to be so cruel to me? And that can become our whole thought for this whole Mercury retrograde. And even before this Mercury retrograde, we can have people from the past really coming to the forefront of our minds in the present. So do be mindful about that. Now, double check all emails, all posts before you post them online, the mail, the post, before you send it out. Check everything before you do so, because things can get jumbled up. You might want to react out of anger to things. People can be a little bit more reactionary during Mercury retrograde. So just double check everything. Don't send anything out in anger at all. That would be just the best thing. If we can kind of hold it back and then wait to act on it, that would be really, really good for us. If we can avoid signing any contracts or, making any really big decisions during Mercury retrograde, again, that would be wonderful. If we can't, then just making sure that we look over things, keeping things to the side, like looking over things twice, having a good lawyer to look over things, or somebody who knows how to read these contracts, that would be really good. But I would suggest somebody who is a professional, because then if they do it wrong, you can yell at them. You can have action towards them. They were supposed to do their job right. So just being mindful of this. Also with the emails and anything like that you want to send out, if you can leave it for a couple of hours, if you could leave it for a couple of days before sending things out, that would be really, really, really beneficial. Now, the shadow period of Mercury retrograde, we have 2 shadow periods. The first shadow period begins on the 6th of September. And what this means is that you've gotten an idea around something around Mercury that is controlled by Mercury, that is around Mercury's, realm of being. Now, the fact of the matter is everything is around Mercury's realm of being. It's about thinking, it's about speaking, it's about contracts, it's about travel. It can even be anxiety and doubts and everything like that. So something is going to come up around Mercury that usually has to do with our speaking things into being and our thoughts. And what we're going to find is that that again comes up very powerfully during this Mercury retrograde. So do be mindful of this. It can kind of hit out of, left field. We can think that, oh my gosh, I didn't prepare for this, or I was worried about this and then I let it go. I thought, oh, everything's going to be okay. And then I found out that it wasn't. It doesn't mean that anything big is going to happen. It just could be that we have a little bit of anxiety around something. Mercury conjunct, okay. So before I go into the stars that Mercury is going to be aligned with during this time, the planetary alignment of Mercury, the planetary alignment during this time is all in the full moon videos. So if you want to see that, if you want to see the planetary alignment and hear me going into that, then do please click on the full moon videos, because those are going to have all that information. But I don't want to overwhelm you because we're going to have a lot of information here already. So just be mindful of that if you're interested in the planetary alignment. Now, Mercury is going to be conjunct the fixed star Arcturus. Now, the star Arcturus obtains justice through power. Now, justice is going to be very important to us during this time, and that can be where our power comes from being a bit more discerning during this Mercury retrograde. It brings riches, esteem, and determination. Now, this can be a prominent lasting effect if we come to things with a positive energy vibration. This is going to be very important, not just because we have the magician, here, the mage. What is also going to be important, this higher energy vibration is going to be important within this Mercury retrograde, because if we come to things with a higher energy vibration, we can aim ourselves more towards success. If we come to things with a lower energy vibration, we aim ourselves towards being worried and overwhelmed and everything like that, just a whole bunch of chaos. So with Mercury being conjunct the fixed star Arcturus, again, if we come to it with a higher energy vibration, we set ourselves up for lasting success. If we come to it with a lower energy vibration, we can feel very overwhelmed, as if we don't know the way that we're headed, or even if we're doing the right thing. Mercury is always also going to be conjunct the fixed star Spica. Now, Spica brings us success, renown, riches, fame, and niceness. It brings just a sweet disposition, a kindness to ourselves during this time. Remember, though, that this is all going to be relative. So if you have a really nice person, Spica can make that really nice person even nicer. If you have a bit of a nasty person, that person can be a little bit more palatable, but they'll still be nasty. So just be mindful of this. And the renowned and the success, that's all relative too. So it doesn't mean that the red carpet's going to be rolled out and all of a sudden we're going to see one win after another after another. It can just be that we start to find the stress kind of alleviating. We start to find ourselves moving forward towards a more of a steady, stable way of being. And that's beautiful in and of itself. Now, this star, Spica, also brings us a sense of love for the arts and science, but can also be very hard for us who are of more an innocent, more of a kind nature, because this star aligns itself with power, period. It wants to go for the power. And usually the nicer, the kinder you are, the less concerned you are with amassing the fortune and, power at any cost. So that's going to be something that we have to be aware of during this time, if you're just a little bit of a kinder, a little bit of a gentler being. This star Spica also increases our intuition and our psychic abilities. So that's going to be something that's really great if you're learning the tarot, or if you do the tarot. That's going to be a great time during Mercury retrograde. It's going to be something that actually gets enhanced, though we can find the messages to be a bit more intense to understand during this time. There's a bit of an androgynous spiritual air, which can add this level of mysticism or this level of, spiritual aesthetic to things that a lot of people really enjoy. So that could be really cool for people. This is also going to be a great time for scientists, for writers, for artists, for anybody who is an innovator and a creator. This is a fantastic time. Now, Mercury is going to go into its second shadow period from the 18th of October to the 2nd of November. This is going to be Mercury stationary direct. Now, the planetary alignment is going to be Mercury sextile Venus, which brings this calming, charming, soothing energy that makes us feel good. It makes us feel like, oh, this is a time to embrace love. This is a time to embrace our hearts. The time is also going to bring us peace and to set down roots in what we love and in what we really enjoy. Mercury is going to be trine Saturn, which brings us determination and achievement over the things that we felt were holding us back before, over things that we couldn't see ourselves tackling before. Now, Mercury is going to be is going to be conjunct the fixed star Vindamatrix. Now, Vindamatrix is a tricky, tricky star. If you don't come to the star with positive energy, it gets in your head and it can really pull you down. So do be mindful of that. Vindamatrix, if again you have a lower energy vibration, can bring melancholy, hastiness, and impulsiveness to us. It just can make us kind of very reactionary and very nihilistic. It's kind of like, oh, what's even the bother? The bother of doing any of this, it's not going to turn out the way that I want it to. If we come to it with a higher energy vibration, we can supersede that. We can really just say, you know what, Vindamatrix, you can't get me down. I'm moving forward, and kind of push away that energy. We can still feel a bit melancholy, but if we don't feed it, we're going to be really great. Now, the Vindamatrix can also make us drawn to the darker, more macabre things in life. So again, we have to be very mindful, and also just be very, very mindful of watching true crime, of watching really intense murder mysteries, or or horror shows, because those things are going to lower your energy vibration, bring in the macabre, and let Vindamatrix just kind of like pull your energy down. I know me personally, I was watching a bunch of true crime stuff on YouTube. I don't know how it came up, but I was like, oh, this is so fascinating. And then it just kept on getting darker and darker and darker. And I felt myself slipping. I felt the energy just draining down within me. And I thought, no. And that was maybe only a week, maybe at most 2 weeks, that or a few days, that things got really intense, and I can't remember, but the energy was just not nice at all. So do be mindful of that, because it can take you by surprise. Also, if you want to watch murder mysteries, watch cozy murder mysteries, like Murder, She Wrote, or Columbo, or even Brokenwood, if you want something a little bit more, if you want something more modern. Now, Mercury is also going to be conjunct the fixed star Purima. Now, if we come to this with a high energy vibration, Purima actually gives us the superpower of seeing the underhanded side of people without being drawn into it. It's kind of like, I see you, I know I can't trust you, you're not going to pull me down type of thing, or I see your angle that you're coming to things from. If we come to this from a low energy vibration, this brings us worry, and this makes us think that no matter how hard we work, it will all fall apart anyway. It's, again, very nihilistic. Now, we have the world opening to us at our root, and we have the magician. Like, the world opens to us, and we have the sense of magic, as above, so below, as we believe it, so it becomes. We can see the door opening, and it's like, this is where I've wanted to be. Like, this is what I've been waiting for. And there's this real sense during this Mercury retrograde, because we're purging out all the toxicity within us. We're like, this is what I've been waiting for. This is the beauty of myself and my soul. And these are the elemental powers that I get to embrace, meaning that I get to embrace my voice. I get to embrace what I create within the earth and within, myself as I plant these seeds. I get to embrace my fire and my passion. And I get to, really connect with the depth of my emotion and the power of my heart and open this up. And as we open this up, we open ourselves up to success beyond measure. If we can look past all the chaos that Mercury retrograde brings, we can really open ourselves up to success beyond measure, to this sense of, I'm seeing my place within the world. It's not like that sense of know your place, being scolded. It's very much understanding why we were created, understanding why we're here and what we want and what makes us happy at this moment. It doesn't mean that it won't change over time, but it means that we start to see the way the wind blows for us. We start to see what we are aligned for and what we're not. And with the Seven of Air, it tells us in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, be mindful of what we're fighting for. We all know those people who are always in an argument, always in a fight. It's one thing after another, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's just so draining. Why? And we need to be mindful of our own energy being like that, because sometimes when things are super important to us, we can feel that fight. We can feel that need to kind of stand up and fight for what is right. But we need to be mindful. We need to be mindful. This isn't saying, just let things happen, but this is saying be mindful of what you're fighting for, because it drains our energy. It drains our energy. It can hold us back. It can unalign us with our intentions. And so here it's like, stand firm in what you absolutely believe in, absolutely, but don't make everything a battle. And that's going to be something that's very tricky during Mercury retrograde, because we can feel like everything is a battle. So everything becomes a battle. It becomes a battle to, get our voices heard over our kids while we're getting them ready, for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It can be a battle to get our voices heard to our partners. It can be a battle to, just get our voices heard at all. And especially as an air sign energy, that's where we're going to feel this battle energy the most, of getting our voice heard, being able to say what we want to say, being able to be listened to, not spoken over, or not just ignored. And so learning when to fight and when to say, you know what, this isn't worth my time. Like, why am I even doing this? That's going to be very important for us. And to let in the air, to let ourselves be centered by the air, by the wind, by the beauty of nature and self and what we are discovering. To know that during this time, we are going to face something that we don't really want to face. It's going to be a little bit more intense. It's going to be a little bit more complex. It's something from our past coming forward. It can be an insecurity that we're going to have to deal with. We're going to have to see. It can be words from the past, like negativity that somebody spoke over us, which that is what a curse is. A curse is when somebody speaks negativity over us and we start to take it as truth. Now, it's either because we hear it so many times, it could be as we're growing up, or because it just really wounded us, the way that it was said, the tone, the feeling behind it, and we weren't expecting it. And so here with the Five of Swords, it doesn't matter when this wound came. What matters is that we see ourselves protected as we face it. We know that we're not alone. And as we know that we're not alone, we become the students of our hearts. We find ourselves, opening up more and more and more spiritually and personally to what we love and what we want. We find ourselves connecting with our heart chakra, standing in the power of our heart chakra and knowing that we are our hearts and our minds, and we're not just one or the other. Because as air sign energies, we can tend to be very logical and then also astoundingly emotional and let one rule and then the other rule and then the other rule, instead of having them co-rule together, which would be the best possible things for us. Again, we find inspiration in the most unlikely of places. We find harmony in healing. We also find that we're dealing with the chaos of emotions, but we have to be very mindful not to let it overpower us, override us, take away a lot of brilliance from us. We are students. We're students of our hearts. We're students of our emotions. We're asking why and how come about everything. We're being curious. We're opening up doors. We're seeing things differently. And it leads us to looking out into the world and saying, maybe I can do this. Maybe there's more here than meets the eye. Maybe I get to have this voice. And as I get to have this voice, I get to have this empowerment of me. We're looking into the crystal ball, so we're looking into the past, into the future, and we're looking into the now. We're seeing more than what's just there, but we have to make sure that we're not psyching ourselves out, because then we won't take the steps that we need to move forward. It brings us to justice. It brings us to alignment. It brings us to a sense of balance of who we are and what we want and what we need and what we desire for ourselves. It has us harmonizing, and it has us saying, what is just for me? What is it that I need? Where is it that I need to be? What is it that I'm seeing? What is it that I desire? And it's having us in the public arena be really, really honest. Now, people are going to look at us, Aquarius, as being really fair. Now, people already tend to look at Aquarians as being fair. Now, not all Aquarians. I know people are going to sit there and say, oh no, I know this one who wasn't nice. This is the positive aspect of Aquarius. If we're looking at a person who's in negative energy and lower energy vibration, yes, of course, there's going to be a discrepancy here. But what we're going to find is that being just, being harmonious, being kind, weighing the scales and saying that first and foremost, my emotions matter, my voice matters, my heart matters in these situations, and I get to embrace what I need and what I love and who I am is going to be intrinsically important during this time. And people are actually going to respect us because we're standing up for ourselves. We're embracing what we need, what we want, and we're standing in our power. It brings us to the Nine of Pentacles, prosperity, success, hard work that pays off, a chance to be able to celebrate it. We're not going to celebrate it. We're going to think, oh, I still have more work to do. I'll get to the celebration later. And Spirit is saying, no, celebrate it now. Embrace your beauty and your brilliance and your prosperity now. Let it shine. Let you shine. The subconscious energy that we have to be mindful of during this time is the Prince of Swords. Again, it's air sign energy. It's us. We can be rash during this time. Just charge forward. Just go for it. Again, that's what the Seven of Air is making us mindful of. Be mindful of the way that we move forward. We're also going to be very drawn to people who are reactionary. We're going to think, oh, they're getting things done. They're moving forward the way that they should be. No, some of them are just moving. And sometimes, yes, movement is good, but not always is movement for the sake of movement, or something being done just for the sake of something being done means that it's right. It can be absolutely wrong, and it just have to be redone later. So do be mindful of that. It moves us to our chakra energy. Our subconscious chakra energy is dreams. We're going to be finding a lot of answers come to us through our third eye chakra. And a lot of the ways that we're going to be interpreting what our third eye chakra is saying is through our dreams, is through meditation, is through, kind of daydreaming. We're going to see a lot of things start making sense. opening up our third eye, meditating on our third eye, really, connecting with that energy and with that power is going to be very important for us. It moves us then to our subconscious rooted self, and that is the Empress. We're claiming a throne we thought we lost. Or actually, more in alignment with the Empress, is we're claiming a throne we never knew we had. We're claiming a power, a voice, and a complexity, and this sense of contradiction of self that a lot of times we're ashamed of. But the Empress says, this is me. I am, it's like I'm the bride and the maiden. I am the complexity of being. I am the contradiction. There's a link down below. I think it's to The Perfect Mind or The Thunder of Truth, or I can't remember what it's called, but it's something very close to that. And it's this piece from Gnostic texts that is this beautiful contradiction of a feminine power. Now, is it of the Sophia or the Shekinah? That could be argued, most definitely, but there is this sense of the beautiful complexity that is being coming forward, and it can be the sacred feminine being, if we want to give it that name, most definitely. That sacred feminine aspect of ourselves, the complexity and the power and the beauty and the intensity that is ourselves as we claim the throne, as we see the persecution that we have been through, as we see the hurt that we have been through, and just forgetting this power. And now that we embrace it, we see ourselves become more in alignment with what we want and who we are and where we need to be. It moves us then to the subconscious inner self. And that is the goddess of fire, fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. If we have fire sign energy within our chart, it's coming through very powerfully, subconsciously in our inner self. We are looking at what drives us forward. We're looking at what we create and why we create it. We are looking at our passion. We're looking at our determination. We're looking at our focus, and we're creating more of it. And as we're creating more of it, we're seeing our own personal power, our personal intensity. And we've forgotten that. There's a sense of, I have forgotten the powerful understanding of me. And that's so funny because we have the house in the corner with the chicken legs. This is Baba Yaga in Russian folklore or fairy tale. And she is not the nicest of beings, yes, but there's this intensity to saying, this is my independence, this is my freedom, this is how I can be powerful and independent. And in olden times, that meant a woman was a witch, that meant a person wasn't to be trusted. And we're going to see that by connecting with our own fire, connecting with our own intensity, we can be trusted. And we're starting to trust that aspect of ourselves now. It brings us then to our subconscious emotional self. And we have a lot of doubts and fears there. The Nine of Swords, worry, nightmares, hurts, pains, disappointments, overthinking, overanalyzing, just feeling confused and upset about things. So in our hearts, we can have this complexity of, I have to understand everything. And during this time, and just in life in general, we don't have to understand everything. What we have to do is know that we have our worry. Respect our worry, say, I see you, but you don't get to rule me. You don't get to overpower me. You don't get to pull me down. It then leads us to our subconscious public arena self. And that's the Seven of Pentacles, faith, patience. Patience in what we are creating, faith in that something beautiful is coming and that the harvest is coming near. We have the Nine of Pentacles, which is the harvest itself. Subconsciously, we have been waiting for this. And we have had faith for so long that it would come. And it can be a very small harvest to what it is that we've been waiting for. But we need that small harvest to build a bigger one. Okay, Aquarius, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power, the beauty, and the intensity of this and complexity of this Mercury retrograde. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Aquarius. And may you have a blessed Mercury retrograde.